Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and we are here with a long overdue WrestleMania kind of recap. My thoughts and breakdowns of WrestleMania and everything that went down in it. It's been like 2 weeks. It's been about 2 weeks, yeah. A little under, just a tad under 2 weeks. There have been 2 Raws that have gone by at least, which, yeah, there's that. So I'll talk about the Raws a little bit, but no, let's get underway into just how I felt about WrestleMania. It took me a little while. Like I said, I was sick, and it's hard to talk and do these things when you're sick, and I mentioned it like a billion times, but I had some other stuff, and yeah, we're finally here taking care of this. So, let's get underway. So we're going to go ahead and start with the pre-show to this WrestleMania. 2 matches in the pre-show. The first was a fatal 4-way tag team match for the tag team titles. Tyson Kidd and Cesaro won. It was an interesting match. They did some cool stuff. Usos did some cool stuff. There was the double superplex. There was a little here and there. I mean, you know, not greatly entertaining. It makes sense that they took an Uso out really early on, so that way when there's spoilers in this, by the way, WrestleMania's been over for 2 weeks. You should know by now. But when they took one of the Usos out, so that way when Tyson Kidd and Cesaro reclaimed the championship, it didn't really look like they had actually defeated the Usos, which is kind of the way to go. I think the Usos should still be the top tag team in the division, but yeah, it was all right. Not a whole lot to say about it. It was I think it was a decent opener. It got a lot of action going early on. There were definitely some screw-ups, some flubs here and there, but it's nothing I'm going to complain about, especially since it was a pre-show match. The second match of the pre-show was the second annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle. The main things to highlight here, Ryback was going on a rampage. They're trying to make Ryback scary again, and I like that. I don't know if the crowd's going to get as on board with that. I mean, we hear the Feed Me More chants, but he's not as huge as he was when he first showed up. But they're trying to make Ryback scary again, and I like that. But Ryback is going on a rampage. Ryback was throwing everybody out of that ring, and then Big Show ended up throwing Ryback out, I believe. I'm trying to make this quicker than the Royal Rumble one, because the Royal Rumble one took forever. I was on that one for so long, so I'm not going to try to explain everything that happened, just kind of what went down and then my thoughts on it. That's my goal. I'll probably screw it up. But, no, and then it came down to the Miz and Mizdow scenario, and Mizdow finally turned on Miz and threw him out, and then it was Mizdow versus the Big Show, and everyone in the excuse me, everyone in the arena wanted Mizdow to conquer the Giant, to beat the Big Show, and he didn't do it. He looked like he had him a few times. Big Show stayed in, and Big Show finally hit him with the KO punch and threw him out. Whereas, if Miz and Mizdow would have teamed up and beat the Big Show, and then Mizdow would have thrown Miz out, that would have made the crowd go nuts. If Mizdow could have conquered the Big Show, a lot of people think that would have been the way to go. And on one hand, like, we kind of feel like we're getting robbed of Mizdow. Should have had a really big WrestleMania moment there, even though it was pre-show, so it probably didn't count. But Mizdow should have had that real breakout moment and been the guy to win the championship, and he would have something that Miz doesn't have, and it would be a huge moment. It would be really cool. We kind of got robbed of that. But on the other hand, and I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, because I have heard nobody say this so far. All right, you look at the situation that unfolded, and you're like, Mizdow should have won that hands down. But if you go back to before the match even starts, and someone tells you, hey, Big Show wins this match, are you going to be that upset that Big Show wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle match? I guess that's the way I'm looking at it. Like, I understand, totally get it. Mizdow should have won that, but it doesn't hurt Mizdow a lot. Like, we kind of missed that moment. Yeah, it doesn't hurt Mizdow a lot to lose the championship, because win or lose the championship, he's done his thing with Miz. Him and Miz are in the feud now. So that's going on. I mean, you know, that's a thing. That's just like, regardless of whether he wins the title, whatever it is, the trophy or not, him and Mizdow are going into their own thing, right? And I don't blame them for having the Big Show win that match. Don't blame, I mean, you know, the Big Show for being the guy to win that match. A lot of people booed. A lot of people hated it. It's okay that they booed. He's a heel. But Big Show winning that match, I feel like he's been around long enough. And if they're going to call it the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle, I feel like Big Show has deserved one. You know what I mean? For being what I feel is, I'm trying to think. And you know what? Like, over the history, over the course of everything that he's done, Big Show has to be the #2 Giant, right? And I'm not classifying Undertaker or Kane as giants, but I think Big Show has to be the #2 Giant. I feel like he's had a better career than One Man Gang. He's done more than the Giant Gonzaga. Please don't even bother to bring up the Great Khali in my presence, because my God. But you know what I mean? So throwing him a bone, giving him the Andre the Giant Memorial victory there, not a big deal. I talked about that for longer than I wanted to. But you know what? I think Big Show's earned it. Out of everybody, I think Big Show's earned it, even though he's boring to watch now, and he's getting the you should retire chants from the crowd now. He's earned it. And I think another thing they were trying to do is, for whatever reason, they're trying to make Big Show scary again. And I didn't expect that because he's been just kind of Seth Rollins' bigger goon. Like there's J&J Securities and there's bigger J&J Security that is Kane and Big Show. But they haven't been scary in a long time, and they're trying to make Big Show scary again, I think. Just how they were putting up against Reigns, they were putting him up against Reigns and stuff like that in Monday Night Raws and certain things like that. But yeah, just I don't know. All part of a scheme. But yeah, I'm not upset Big Show won the Andre the Giant Memorial bout. I think he's earned it. I think this is, even if the company was like, well, you've been here for so long, we'll give you this one kind of thing. You know, it's just something that he needed to have on his resume before I think he retires. And I'm not going to say it's bound to happen soon or anything, but he is getting up there. And he is not the most entertaining guy to watch anymore, especially in the 1v1 matches and things like that. But anyways, let's move on. We're finally to the main card now. We're 5 minutes in, and I'm just not getting to the main card because I suck at this. 7-man ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship involving Bad News Barrett, Daniel Bryan, R-Truth, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Dolph Ziggler, and Stardust. Daniel Bryan ends up winning the match after him and Ziggler went at it, and it makes sense because the week before on Raw, they had Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler in a 1v1, and Dolph Ziggler won that match. So I think that's just kind of them like trying to boost up Ziggler a little bit before he straight up loses to Daniel Bryan in a headbutt fight at the top of the ladder. Solid match, entertaining to watch. I would probably go back and watch it again if I ever pull up the network again, which I will eventually. If I ever go back to that WrestleMania, the ladder match will be one that I watch again. Dean Ambrose. When Dean Ambrose took... I was actually hoping Dean Ambrose was going to win the Intercontinental title there, too. I really did. I was really hoping Ambrose was going to be the one to win the title out of everybody because everybody expected Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. So I was hoping Ambrose was going to walk away with it. But no, Luke Harper powerbombed Dean Ambrose through a ladder, and it looked like it broke his neck. It just straight up, like where he landed, where the ladder broke, just straight up looked like it broke Dean Ambrose's neck. And then Dean Ambrose was out there wrestling John Cena the very next night on Raw. So kudos to him for that. But there we go. Moving on, the second match of the night was a singles match between Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. And the only thing I could say about this match is, my God, that RKO was awesome. They had a pretty solid match all the way through. But Seth Rollins was like 10 feet in the fucking air when Randy Orton RKO'd him. It was absolutely nuts. It was a cool way to go into it. And that's probably, out of all like even the sneak RKOs he's done, even the first time he hit Cena with an RKO out of an AA and things like that, and when he caught Evan Bourne doing the shooting star press, and when he's caught Alberto Del Rio a couple times going for kicks and things like that. I still think the Seth Rollins one, that was probably the coolest RKO I've ever seen. So that was pretty sick, just with the height Rollins got. But no, good solid match there. Randy Orton picks up the victory in that one. Third match, Sting and Triple H's match, and goddamn, it was pretty decent. It was pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. The announcers would not say the Scorpion Deathlock. I don't think they're allowed to say the word death or something. I'm not sure what it is with the new PG movement or whatever, but I don't think they're allowed to say the word death because they just call it the Scorpion Drop when he does his DDT, and then they would not say Scorpion Deathlock. They just wouldn't say it. Sting's got him locked in, but they wouldn't say the name of the move, and that bugged me a little bit, but whatever. Sting and Triple H having a good match. Looks like Sting's got Triple H right where he wants him, and then DX comes out. DX being Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X-Pac come out. And then Sting kind of fights them off. Sting is 56 years old. He jumps off and he lands on the whole crowd of people. He gets back in the ring, and it looks like Triple H has got the upper hand now. And then NWO's music comes out. And I hadn't heard it in a while, but NWO has the sickest theme song of any wrestler ever. I'm just going to say that. There it is. NWO's theme song. That's the coolest theme song to ever fucking hit it. NWO comes out, and that was really awesome to see fucking Hulkamania and Razor Ramon and Kevin Nash all coming out and doing their thing. And then they kind of fight on the outside and stuff, and Sting gets the upper hand again. He's putting in the Scorpion Deathlock in this one. Triple H probably isn't going to tap unless somebody breaks his arm, because other than that, there's no way he's tapping. But Sting's going to lock him in the Scorpion Deathlock, and then Shawn Michaels comes out and super kicks him. Equalizer. And then it's the Sledgehammer versus the Bat, and the Bat wins. And then Sting gets some momentum going. He's doing stinger splashes. All of a sudden, Triple H picks up the Sledgehammer, knocks Sting in the head, pins him 1, 2, 3. And everyone was so sure, including me, Sting was going to win that match. But it is, the more I think about it now, it's classic Vince McMahon to take this big thing. He brought it in, but then it couldn't win. And it's what I mean by that is McMahon has always been this kind of like McMahon didn't create Sting. So Sting is not going to beat the WWE. I mean, you know, if McMahon's the one calling the shots, if McMahon's the one that's deciding who's going to win these matches and whatnot, he didn't make Sting. Sting's going to lose that match. That's just how it is. That's just, I mean, McMahon's always been like that. Let me get a drink of water in here real quick. I should have, last time I did this, last time I did this, I tried to have a match for every, I tried to have a match from WWE for every match going on in the background. I'm trying to make a match up, but I don't think I'm going to do that this time. I'm trying to go through the matches a little bit quicker. So there will be some gameplay in the background, but I can't guarantee it's going to be exactly on point with what I'm talking about. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. But no, one thing I like that they did about that match, I mean, it was Triple H and Sting. It didn't disappoint. It was a pretty solid match all the way around. One thing I like is that there was DX. There was the line that DX was on, and then there was Shawn Michaels. And that's how it should be. Shawn, I mean, is one of, or arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. And there's the rest of DX, and then Michaels came up, and Michaels was his own, and he super kicked. And the crowd half booed him. The crowd didn't know what the fuck to do. You know what I mean? Like, there were boos coming out, but that's Shawn Michaels. You don't boo Shawn Michaels anymore. So it was cool to see him split like that, even though everybody really wanted Sting to win. Not split. There were definite boos in there, but still, it was nice. It was nice. Daniel Bryan had his interview in the background where a bunch of the greats came back and congratulated him. That was kind of cool. The fourth match of the night was a tag. Oh, it was the Bella Twins. AJ and Paige, not a lot to say about that. It was one of AJ's last matches of all time, and she got to make Nikki tap out in WrestleMania, so not a bad way to go. Not a bad way to go at all. About the whole AJ retiring situation, I honestly think she just, like, had her WrestleMania moment. I don't know if she was having trouble with management, because, like, tweets would indicate there were a few times she was having troubles with management and whatnot, but I don't know if she was having trouble with just stuff going on in the back, or if she just thought to herself, you know what, I think after WrestleMania, I think I'm gonna be done. I think I'm winning this thing at WrestleMania, and then I think after that, I'm just gonna call it, because they're suing my husband right now anyway, so it's not, well, I don't know who's suing who exactly, but they're in fights right now. I think they're still fighting over that. But yeah, she's just gonna bow out, and she'll be in the Hall of Fame. She'll be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know how long it'll take, but AJ will end up in the Hall of Fame. So there we go. There's the thank you, AJ. She had a good match to go out on, and now Paige just kind of picked up what's her face, one of the old Funkadactyls. I don't even know her name off the top of my head, but she's the new. They just inserted the Funkadactyl chick, and now they're a tag team just like Paige and AJ were, and we'll see where that goes. I really like Paige. I can't say I like Paige more than I liked AJ, just because AJ experience, been around longer. One of the more entertaining divas, definitely, but I like Paige, and I hope Paige is able to snag the title back again soon. Not a whole lot to say about the match, because it was just, I mean, kind of a typical Divas match. They kept Paige away from getting to AJ the whole time, then AJ came at the end and kicked ass and won, and that's pretty much it. I mean, not a lot to it. They came out and they talked about the Hall of Fame class, and I don't have a whole... Oh, by the way, I guess I didn't talk about Triple H's entrance. Kind of stupid, borderline stupid, but whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to complain. Sting's entrance was weird, too. They just beat on the drums for too damn long. I don't know. But anyway, no, they break out the Hall of Fame inductees. It's on the network. I can go watch it anytime I want, but I still haven't seen the Hall of Fame. I hear it wasn't that awful. A couple people had really boring, long speeches, but I hear it wasn't that awful. The only downside is that it's over 4 hours long, which is intimidating for me to be like, okay, I'm going to try to watch the Hall of Fame now for my next 4 hours of my life. No, fifth match of the night. Cena versus Rusev, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up now. Well, we'll talk about the match first, I guess. Kept me, I mean, relatively entertained. It was a decent John Cena match. I think a lot of people still wanted to see, even though they hate Rusev because he always talks shit on America, a lot of people in the back of their minds still wanted to see Rusev win, just because it's not Cena. But if Cena were to lose to Rusev right there, I understand it would help Rusev a lot to beat Cena, right? It would grow Rusev up a bunch, but I feel like Rusev's probably trying to get away from the United States title anyways. He's hung on to it long enough. And after seeing the aftermath and whatnot, I do think it was the right move to give Cena the U.S. title. And the reason I say that is because Cena is doing a lot with it. He's doing these open challenges, and he's bringing out these superstars who may not actually be super involved in anything right now, but they get to go out and they get to have a match with John Cena. And I mean, like it or not, Cena is still considered a top guy. He may not be the face of the WWE anymore, but he's still a top guy, and he can go out there and he can have his match with Ambrose wasn't very good, but it was Ambrose, so I wasn't upset. But yeah, he went out and he had matches with Ambrose, and he had a match with Stardust. His match with Stardust was actually not that bad, and it's one of those things where you know he's gonna win it, but he's still doing open challenges, and he's still able to show off these guys in his own way. And Rusev wasn't doing that. Rusev was going out and just shitting on whoever he was facing. So I don't mind the fact that Cena snagged the title. One thing that I'm going to get to now, I don't like, and don't get me wrong, I have been booing Cena for a long time. I no longer understand, or I can't say I don't understand it, I no longer want to boo John Cena anymore. And the reason for that is we were mad. I mean, I feel like as a community, as a WWE community who was booing John Cena, we didn't like John Cena because he'd been at the top for 10 years. 10 years, he was at the very top. Always the guy fighting for the championship. Always the guy who they plugged in when somebody got injured to pick up and, pick up and take the title. It was never, well, John Cena might lose this one. No, John Cena's going to win that one. If he loses it now, he'll be back in next fucking month competing for this shit again. And that's why I booed John Cena. That's why I didn't like John Cena. It's not necessarily because he's boring to watch, because he does have these really good matches, even though he doesn't have the most moves in his repertoire, and I'm not a fan of the springboard to stunner thing that he's doing now. But whatever. He doesn't have the most moves in his repertoire. Some of his moves that he does are really shitty, like he cannot do a Hurricane Rana. He should never try one again. Same thing with that stunner thing that I brought up. I just don't like the way that looks. But he has exciting matches. It's not that he wasn't, entertaining to watch. It's not that he's bad on the mic or that we don't want to hear him there. It's that he was taking up top spots, and there were so many other guys who could have been at the top spot. Even if Cena just would have taken breaks, right? Even if Cena just would have been the top guy and then floundered down to the mid-card, picked up an Intercontinental title for a while, and then fought back up and tried to be the guy again. But he was the very top guy, taking a big spot away from what a lot of guys could have been flourishing to. We could have had more diversity. That's why I didn't like John Cena. Now that he's hanging on to the U.S. title, number one, he's making the U.S. title important again. Number two, he's showing off guys like Stardust and Ambrose and whoever else is going to come out next week to have the open match with John Cena, and I like that. And he's in the mid-card slot, you know what I mean? He's the U.S. title. He gave it meaning. The U.S. title didn't mean shit until Cena took it back, you know what I mean? And now it's got a little bit of meaning to it, and we're getting an entertaining mid-card slot. And the mid-card, by all means, the mid-card should always be, really built up, and it's been very lackluster, if you ask me, as of late. So no, why people are still booing John Cena, maybe it's just the John Cena hate train. If you're still booing John Cena for any reason, let me know, but he's in the mid-card now, and I'm okay with him there. I'm not gonna hope that John Cena loses every match when he's doing this, you know what I mean? If he just does this thing now, and I like where he is, I really do. Now that we've got different top guys, and yeah, that's it. Excuse me, I got this cough, I'm sorry. So, then the Authority. Triple H and Steph came out to the ring. We got to see Ronda Rousey and The Rock come out. This match was, it wasn't a match, but this segment was a little drug out for me. I guess they were just trying to stall a little bit, but there was one line in it that made it all worth it. So no, The Rock goes out and he says, "You don't own the people, you can't," because that's what they were saying. I'm like, well, we kind of own you guys because you're in here watching our shit. The Rock comes out, he paces the stage like 90 fucking times if you go back and watch that, and then he comes down to the ring and he's like, "You don't own them," and he's talking smack to Triple H, and he's like, "Triple H, let's fight, let's go," and then Triple H is like, "Nah, I don't feel like fighting you, man." And then Stephanie comes up, she's like, "Bitch, I'll fight you," and then she bitch slaps The Rock. She's like, "What are you gonna do? You gonna hit a girl? You can't do that anymore, it's PG," because if this was 1990, The Rock would be rock bottoming her through the fucking mat right now, but it's not. The 90s are over. The PG era is here. The Rock's not allowed to hit a woman, so what does The Rock do? He goes out to the stands, and he grabs who is sitting in the front row, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, very elite UFC chick. She was just in Furious 7 with The Rock, I think. I believe that was, yeah, that was Ronda. That was Ronda. She is the most dangerous unarmed woman on the planet, which is saying a whole fuck. There's no other girl in the world alive right now that without any weapon could beat her in a fight. Like, that's just how it, and that's cool. That's a cool title. Like, that's the fucking title to have. Excuse me, I think I might be dying. I don't know. It's probably cancer. Brings Ronda Rousey in. Ronda Rousey she says a little bit, and she didn't fuck it up too bad, which is nice. It wasn't, usually when they bring someone in from the crowd, someone who's not used to, like, even though she's done interviews and stuff, even though she's been in the spotlight before, someone who doesn't talk or do that whole acting thing very often, you always cringe when they're about to talk, and Ronda didn't really fuck anything up, so that was nice to see. But she tells Stephanie McMahon, she's like, "Any ring I step into is mine, bitch." And Stephanie McMahon starts running her mouth. She's like, "Hey, I know, I would never fight you in the octagon. That would be completely stupid. But this is my ring, bitch. I own this ring, and I'm a female wrestler. You want to come over here? I'm gonna kick the shit out of you." And she's saying all this stuff to Ronda Rousey. I'm paraphrasing. And then the line that made this whole fucking segment worth it and totally awesome is Ronda's giving this fucking death glare. And she's giving this death glare because you can tell she's trying not to smile because 70,000 people cheering for her right now, and that's absolutely nuts. But The Rock takes the microphone, he looks at Stephanie McMahon, he's like, Steph, I just have to cut in for 1 second, and I have to tell you what that look means. And he points at Ronda's face. He's like, that look right there means that if you don't stop running your mouth, Ronda is going to reach down your throat, pull out your insides, and play jump rope with your fallopian tubes. And that was just like, The Rock does it a billion times better than I probably shouldn't have ruined it for you, but The Rock does it a billion times better than I do, and it was fucking hilarious. And then Ronda Rousey beats the shit out of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and the segment's over. It was cool. I hope Ronda comes back and does stuff with the WWE. Also, she was wearing a Vegeta over 9,000 shirt. She's one of us. There we go. Alright, so after that ends, the 6th match, Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. I'm just going to say this now, by the way. Sting and The Undertaker, and Bray Wyatt for that matter, do not have entrances that should be done in the daytime. That bothered me. I get there in San Francisco, the sun goes down. I mean, you know, it was daylight, whatever, fuck all. But the sun wasn't going down until late. And even by the time, the sun wasn't even setting by the time The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt's matches started. But the Sting and Undertaker, Sting and The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt should not come out during the daytime at all. Like, wherever you're going next, either make sure, I don't know, you're doing it before or after time change or what the fuck ever, or have indoors as an option, get a place with a roof that they can easily slide that shit over when they're doing entrances like that. But it doesn't look right for Sting, Bray Wyatt, or The Undertaker to come out outside in the daytime. Their entrances need darkness or the effect goes away, and there's that. Bray Wyatt and Undertaker had an alright match. I mean, it was pretty solid. I didn't like how weak The Undertaker looked, and I don't mean like physically. I mean like just in the ring, he hadn't taken a whole lot from Bray Wyatt. Even after he sat up, Bray Wyatt did that spider crawl thing over to The Undertaker, and Undertaker sat up and looked at him. And Undertaker was really badass in that moment. And then Bray Wyatt rolls over, and he's kind of trembling. He's in fear as he stands up, but he stands up all right. You can tell Bray Wyatt's fine. He's just scared as shit of The Undertaker right now. And The Undertaker's like struggling to get to his feet. Like, you just sat up like a badass, dude. You're The Undertaker. Yeah, Brock Lesnar beat you last year, but who gives a shit? You're the fucking Undertaker. Let's go. And he looked kind of frail, and I don't know. He did look a lot better this year than last year, though, which is nice, because last year he looked like he was old and had cancer and was going to die next week and shit like that. But this year he just looked old, which is fine. He's getting old, and he's getting, I mean, you know, I think he's like 51, 52. I think he's 51 right now. So yeah, The Undertaker's getting up there. They had an alright match. Another to complain about, Undertaker ended up winning it with a tombstone. One thing I wish would have happened, but it's kind of out there for me to even wish for this, is that Bray Wyatt and the way he does Sister Abigail, I wish he would have gone for a Sister Abigail and got halfway through it, you know, like when he's turned like that, when he's halfway through with the Sister Abigail, and then Undertaker could have just picked him up and been in a tombstone. It's hard to explain like this, but I mean, if you understand what I'm saying, when Bray Wyatt's spinning for that Sister Abigail, there's a point in time when he's spinning where Undertaker could step around and pick him up in a tombstone. I was hoping that's how it would have ended. I was legitimately like waiting for that moment. I'm like, Undertaker's going to pick him up and hit him with a tombstone. But he did a regular tombstone. He just picked him up out of whatever, so it's fine. No complaints coming out of me. I'm glad The Undertaker won that match. Even though it does hurt Bray Wyatt a little bit, he got to have a WrestleMania match with The Undertaker. But now we come to like a big question here. Why did the... I'm not going to make it. Fuck. Why did The Undertaker come back, right? Why did The Undertaker come back? He lost to Brock Lesnar, the streak was ended, and nobody had heard from him in a year. There was really, other than the fact that his match with Lesnar was kind of bad, just because he wasn't feeling right. He got injured in that match very early on. Bray Wyatt was injured too, by the way. Bray Wyatt had a rolled ankle or something like that, and he had a cast on until like right before the match started. And I couldn't tell he was injured at all. So kudos to Bray Wyatt for manning through that one, being that hurt and still being able to come out. And I didn't even know he had an ankle injury. But yeah, other than the fact that Taker had a bad match with Lesnar, if he's going to come back and not wrestle Sting, why did he come back? You know what I mean? Maybe he's like, well, I got to have one more good match, and maybe going out on a win wouldn't be that bad either. I mean, he hasn't officially retired or nothing yet, so a lot of people are speculating that Sting and Undertaker had their matches respectively here this year, and then next WrestleMania, they're both going to retire after having a match with each other. The Phenom versus the Icon is what they're calling Sting. And that is going to be the end-all be-all for both of them. And it would make sense in the regard that Sting lost this year. Excuse me, it would make sense in the regard that Sting lost his match this year and Undertaker won his match. So that way next year when they go at it, Sting can win. Sting can go on a win. He can have his WWE victory. And Undertaker doesn't go out on a 2 losing streak since he was the WrestleMania god. I don't know. It would be really weird to see how that one plays out. But that's the only thing I can come up with, is that that's the reason Sting lost, other than the fact that Vince McMahon's just not going to let Sting get a victory against the WWE or Triple H. That way Sting can win next year, Taker can lose, and it's not as big of a deal for Taker to lose the match next year. And then they can both retire. And because Sting is going to be 57 next year, that's the other killer part, is can they even have a match together? Can they both have a match together 1 year from now and be okay and get through it, and nobody's going to get hurt, but they're still going to be able to do enough daring shit that it's actually a good match to watch, and it's got some entertaining moments and things like that. But it's iffy. I actually want to hear you guys' thoughts on Undertaker and Sting, on if they should have a match, if they're going to have a match, if WrestleMania 32 is going to be when they both have their last match and retire. Just because, like, where does Sting go from here, and where does Undertaker go from here if they don't collide with each other? You know what I mean? Undertaker hasn't officially retired yet. He beat Bray Wyatt. Does he come back next year for WrestleMania? Sting has his 1 loss to Triple H. Is that it? Is he going to come to the WWE and have 1 WrestleMania match and lose and then be done, and that's going to be his WWE career? You know what I mean? Like, where do they go if they don't collide with each other? Where do they go from here? You know what I mean? So let me know what you guys' thoughts are. As we move on to the main event, it is getting hot in my apartment, and I've been recording for almost 30 minutes. Here we go. We're moving on to the main event. World Heavyweight Championship match between Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman and my fucking boy Roman Reigns. I'm going to say this right now. I love Roman Reigns. I love Roman Reigns. He gets booed. I don't give a shit. I love Roman Reigns. I'm going to make a separate video about a lot of things going on in the WWE right now that I didn't want to fit into this one, and I know with how much I've talked this time, but it's going to be more about Roman Reigns and what's happened with him in his career and the future and where he should go and all these things. I might ask a couple questions, but I'm not going to get into that here. We're going to talk about the actual main event. It starts out, and it looks a lot like Lesnar versus Cena SummerSlam, as Lesnar just starts beating the shit out of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had a little bit more fight than Cena did in that match. You know what I mean? He's throwing knees, he's throwing punches. He's got Lesnar bleeding really early on, which I don't think that was intentional, but it ended up looking pretty good for the camera. Roman Reigns getting a little bit of fight back every now and again. He caught Lesnar on the outside. He was kicking the shit out of him out there. You know what I mean? He's getting a couple punches in every now and again, but Lesnar is, and quoting this, taking Roman Reigns to Suplex City, bitch, as he put it. Paul Heyman on the outside. I fucking love Paul Heyman, by the way. I love Paul Heyman outside counting the suplexes on his fingers. I loved it. Fucking Heyman, man. But no, and then all of a sudden, Lesnar, who's been beating the shit out of Reigns for a long time now, hits him with 2 F5s. Reigns kicks out again. Reigns is laughing. Reigns' mouth is bleeding. Reigns is looking at Lesnar and laughing. Lesnar is slapping Reigns. Reigns is laughing at him. Reigns is building up a little bit. Here, Lesnar goes to ram Reigns into the post. Reigns posts Lesnar for something big, because Lesnar started bleeding right away. As soon as he hit that post, Lesnar was bleeding pretty bad. And all of a sudden, Reigns is starting to fight back into it. Reigns hits Lesnar with 3 Superman punches before Lesnar goes down. Reigns hits 1 spear, gears up for his 2nd spear, hits that one, and I believe Lesnar kicked out of the 2nd spear. Either that or he dodged it. I don't know if he might have got out of the way, the 2nd one. I'm not sure. I'm a little fuzzy on that. I should have gone back and rewatched this match, actually. Excuse me, I hope I remember to cut that out. But no, I like how anyone's finished to Lesnar now. I remember back in the day when, like, Hulk Hogan was the only one who would ever kick out of somebody's finisher or something like that, which Hulk Hogan, I mean, you know, whatever. But back in the day, like, if you hit a finisher on someone and you pin them right away, the match was over. That's how it worked every fucking time. You hit a finisher on someone and you pin them right away, the match was over. If you hit a finisher on someone and you crawled to them slowly, barely got the arm over, then it was iffy. They could kick out of that and still be okay. Or they could not kick out of that and it would still be awesome. But as of lately, there's been a lot more false finishes, a lot more people kicking out of finishers. And then just to finish Lesnar off now, everyone, you have to hit him with 2 finishers in a row. You have to hit him with 2 finishers in a row. That's the only way that you can even think, and Lesnar still kicks out of that. You know what I mean? I get he's a monster. I like Lesnar's style right now, but that's funny to me. I'm gonna die. Damn it. All right. No, so they keep going on throughout the match. Roman Reigns is still building up. Lesnar catches Reigns, hits him with a 3rd F5. Reigns kicks out of a 3rd F5. Know this. Reigns kicked out of 3 F5s. Undertaker did not kick out of 3 F5s. John Cena, I don't believe. John Cena didn't kick out of 3 F5s. Reigns kicked out of 3 F5s. And I don't remember if Reigns got hit with the 3rd F5 and then kicked out, or if it was the 4th F5. that he got hit with, and then Rollins came out. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, I really should have gone back and watched this match before I did this, or at least the ending, because I'm a little, like I said, it was 2 weeks ago, I'm a little fuzzy. But I think when Reigns got hit with the third F5, he kicked out. And the thing about this one is after Reigns kicked out of the second F5, that's when he went off, and that's when he almost won the match. That's when he hit 3 Superman punches, he hit 2 spears, and he almost won the match right there. So after Reigns kicks out of the third F5, it's like, where does this match go? I mean, you know, Reigns is going to, if Reigns gets back up, it's going to be something big, right? But he doesn't get the chance. Seth Rollins comes out. Seth Rollins curb stomps Brock Lesnar. Seth Rollins curb stomps... no, he curb stomps Reigns, and then he curb stomps Lesnar. And then he goes to curb stomp Lesnar for a second time. Lesnar catches Rollins in an F5, but before he can F5 him, Reigns spears Lesnar while he's holding Rollins. Rollins lands on his feet, curb stomps Reigns, pins Reigns, 1, 2, 3, match is over. Rollins runs out the WWE Champion. I was going to go somewhere with Lesnar. And how that works. But oh well. No, so this ending is actually really, really good, right? Because I'm going to tell you, I love Roman Reigns. It doesn't kill me that he didn't win the title. Like, yeah, I kind of wanted him to walk out with the title, but I understand, I guess, the people who don't want him to win the title, and it's too early, and people are going to boo the shit out of him, even though he's the champion, which also isn't good. Where am I going with this? What did I want to say? I had something real big lined out. Oh, no, I really liked Reigns, but it doesn't bother me that he didn't win. I mainly wanted him to win this match because I didn't want him to just straight up lose to Brock Lesnar. That was my one thing, is I didn't want him to just go in, especially with how the match was going. He was getting the shit kicked out of him. He had a couple big bursts, but other than that, if he would have lost to Brock Lesnar, that would have been like, no, Reigns is nowhere near as good as Brock Lesnar. But because Reigns was making a comeback, and because Reigns was hitting so many spears, and because Reigns did not just straight up lose to Lesnar in a 1v1, after that third F5 that he kicked out of, we don't know how big. After how big he got up after the second one, when it looked like he was going to win the match after he kicked out of the second F5, we don't know how it would have gone after he kicked out of the third one. There's no telling who was going to win that match, right? But because Rollins pinned Reigns, and it was after a curb stomp, he had taken 3 F5s, it doesn't hurt Reigns very much, if at all. And it doesn't hurt Lesnar at all because Lesnar didn't get pinned. It keeps Lesnar a monster. And Seth Rollins gets to walk out with the title. Now, I know a lot of people felt like, oh, we were robbed of a WrestleMania main event by Seth Rollins when he cashed in the Money in the Bank. But the more I sat there and thought about it, looking at Seth Rollins becoming the WWE Champion, the more I thought about it, the only feeling that I really... the main feeling that I really got looking at Rollins was I was actually like, I'm not like a fucking dad or anything, but like I was proud of Rollins. You know what I mean? Because he has, like, I don't know. I feel like in a way he earned it. We're going to kind of get into an area where I talk about Roman Reigns in that video topic that I'm going to do later on. But Rollins, I mean, you know, it was cool to see him come with the title. It was cool to see a guy who had the Money in the Bank, hung on to it for so long, stayed at a top spot for so long. I mean, you know, running his mouth, running around with J&J security, having decent matches. Come out and win the title, and it was kind of cool to see a guy. He was the first NXT champion, but when they came out, like, just look at the Shield. When they came out as the Shield, it started out and it looked like Ambrose was the leader of the Shield, if there even was a leader to the Shield. He was the one that was usually on the microphone, front man in it, talking about all that stuff, being crazy. Reigns was the muscle, and then slowly kind of became the leader of the Shield. Reigns was the muscle, and then Reigns was the guy, and Rollins was just kind of that background guy. He did the crazy stuff, right? Rollins was that guy. He would show up as a blip for a second, right? And he would do some knee off the top rope, or he would jump off the rafters and land on some people with a splash. But that was it. I mean, you know, out of the three, Rollins kind of stuck out the least in the Shield. And to see him be the guy that takes off, he goes to the top immediately, right? As soon as he wins the Money in the Bank, he gets a free pass to the top, you know what I mean? And then, but nobody thought he was going to, I mean, you know, it was one of those things where not a lot of people thought he was going to be able to do it, and then he stole the show at WrestleMania. So, you know what I mean? I was happy, you know what I mean, that Rollins won. A little upset that Reigns didn't, but you know what I mean? It doesn't bother me that Rollins won that match at all. Not at all a bad ending to that one. And like I said, it keeps Reigns safe because Reigns had been through so much with Brock Lesnar. It keeps Brock safe because Brock didn't get pinned, and then Rollins walks out with the title. I will say, to kind of catch you guys up to date on Raw, Lesnar has been suspended because he went on some kind of animalistic rampage where he F5'd cameraman and Michael Cole. So he's been suspended until Stephanie McMahon says he can come back, I guess, and get his rematch. There was a triple threat match to see who would face Rollins at Extreme Rules for the WWE Championship. It was between Orton, Ryback, and Reigns. Again, I wanted Reigns to win that one, but we all knew Orton was going to win it. And I like the way they took Reigns out of it, right? Reigns didn't get pinned. Reigns didn't get beat up that much. They took Reigns out of it because the Authority came out to the ring for no reason. Reigns jumped onto all of them. And then they kind of ganged up on him, and Big Show ended up hitting him with 2 knockout punches, even though they weren't in the match at all and shouldn't have been interfering, but whatever. And then with that, the way the Orton one was actually kind of slimy and scumbaggy too, right? So Orton gets jumped on by J&J security, and they're beating him down. And Ryback goes over to save Randy Orton. He pulls J&J off. He pulls one of them off, gives him a big clothesline, pulls the other one off like, you can't hurt Randy, we're having a match kind of thing. Throws him out of the ring. Then when he turns around to be like, it's okay, Randy, I got you. Like, just as he's turning around, Randy hits him with an RKO and wins the match. Like, okay, like, it's a little scummy, but you won, so. I mean, so no, I'm looking forward to Rollins and Orton in Extreme Rules. I'm interested to see what they do with Reigns, but I'm going to talk a lot about that, a lot about the main event. Rollins, Lesnar, Reigns, things like that in this video that I want to do in the next couple days, and it's just going to kind of be a discussion and stuff. But this has gone on for almost 40 minutes now, so I've jabbered a little bit too long about Mania. But let me know what you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Agree with anything, disagree with anything. What was the worst segment? What was the best? I had not very many. There were a couple people who said this year's WrestleMania sucked. The card was shitty. There weren't good matches and things like that. And I would have to disagree with you on that one. I was pretty entertained with this year's WrestleMania. I'm decently happy with where wrestling's at right now, actually. I think it's going in the right direction. We'll have to see. Anyways, it's getting really hot in my apartment. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for coming out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you guys enjoy this sort of thing. There's going to be more wrestling stuff in the near future. As always, I'm Thundershot, and I'm out. Peace, guys.